Hi, my name is Lev Perry. I'm the Director of Product Management for Universal Audio. We're here at NAMM 2014, debuting the latest addition to the Apollo family, Apollo Twin. Now, Apollo Twin gives you the legendary sound of analog on your desktop. It runs real-time UAD processing, sub 2 millisecond latency with all of our plugins. It has Thunderbolt built right in, brand new PCIe audio and PCIe UAD drivers. And last but certainly not least, it has Unison mic preamp technology built right into it. Now, I'm going to give you guys a deep dive on some of the things that maybe weren't covered in the last video. Now, maybe I want to start with just the top of the hardware. The hardware, obviously, very beautiful industrial design, but one of the unique things about it for a single knob interface is the fact that we've got these two focus buttons. And these focus buttons actually change between the preamp side, so you can see I'm actually focusing channel 1 or channel 2 here. And if I go to the other side, you can see it flips over to monitor. So why this is a really big deal is because a lot of the time you're just going to be recording with one input. And so it's really great to say, okay, let's put it on channel 1. I'm on channel 1, but with one click of a button, I can easily just flip right over to monitor. So again, one button press to go from input to output instead of having to cycle around from 1, 2, and monitor and headphone. So really great to go between these things with a single button click. And again, the text shows you what you're focused on with the knob. Okay, so that's a really basic idea of sort of the focus mechanism. Another great thing, obviously, is we've got full-featured mic preamps. So we've got dedicated input switching, high-pass filter, 48-volt phantom power, pad, polarity inversion, and stereo linking. So the great thing is 2 microphone inputs on the back, hook up a stereo pair of mics, hit the link switch, and you can actually do very clean, very simple stereo recording. So that's a little bit about the hardware on the top panel. Obviously, some other great things. We've got dedicated front panel guitar input, and this is actually an auto switching jack. So when you plug it in, it automatically switches to high Z, and you're going to be hearing that input, no problem. To the right of that, we've got the headphone output. So again, really ergonomic. So you're not reaching around the back to get to the most common things that you're going to plug in all the time, i.e. your headphone and your guitar. So really ergonomic, really great layout. Obviously the back has the mic pre's, the monitor outs, an additional line 3 and 4 out, and it's also got the ADAT input, which is also switchable between optical SPDIF. Now, I talked about Unison technology. Unison technology offers the best sounding mic preamps emulated with Apollo interfaces. So what I want to show you is a little bit about how it works. So if we go over to the software, this is the first Unison enabled mic preamp. This is the 610B. It's actually going to ship for free with Apollo Twin, and it gives you a faithful reproduction of a 610 mic pre. And it's not just a plugin. It actually works with the hardware in unison, and bidirectional communication is happening. So, for example, my Apollo Twin is on channel 1, and you can see I've actually got this sort of amber LED ring, and there's a little hint there because on the console application, it's also amber. And if I turn the knob on the hardware, you're actually seeing me control it. And you see the gain jumping around, it's doing it in the plugin. Now, you can see that's great, but the 610 has 2 knobs. I would love to control those 2 knobs. No problem. You actually hit the button on the actual encoder. The channel 1 is going to flash, and this tells you that you're now in unison mode, and you can actually go between the first preamp parameter, click the button once, and now I'm on the level. So I'm actually going in real time and controlling all the different parameters just by cycling through the knob. Now, for those of you who are Apollo users, don't worry, this is coming to Apollo soon too. One of the really great things though that's really exciting about Unison, not only do we emulate the actual input stage, meaning on the digitally controlled analog side, we're doing exactly what would happen on the actual real mic preamp. There's also impedance switching built right into Apollo Twin. So what that means is that if the 610 had 500 ohms impedance to interact with your mic, so does Apollo Twin. So you actually get the real interaction with your microphone that you would have on the real preamp. Now again, if you're an Apollo customer, you might say, well, my Apollo doesn't have that. One of the Easter eggs of Apollo is that it's actually been built into Apollo since day 1. Variable impedance is a feature that we were thinking about 3 years ago when we were developing Apollo. We never just shipped it. Now we're shipping it with Apollo Twin, and it'll be coming to Apollo Duo and Quad very soon. Some of the other things I want to show you in the software, just to get into it a little bit deeper. To do the Unison integration, we actually have a new dedicated preamp slot. And again, right now, it'll just show you the 610. But we're going to be developing more Unison mic preamps. So you could use your imagination and start to think about what are the preamps that you want the most. Most likely those will be coming in form of a Unison-enabled mic pre later this year. Talking about some of the other things, just about Apollo Twin. At the end of the day, Apollo was popular because it had real-time UAD processing, it had great sound quality. All of that is in Apollo Twin, and the great user experience of the console is there too. So obviously we get the mic pre-integration built right in, but we've also got other things like the digital input can be switched between optical, SPDIF, or ADAT, and you can see right now it says SPDIF. I can hit a switch in the settings that would actually show 8 more inputs if it were ADAT. We've also got the virtual I/O. Now the virtual I/O is the ability to take outputs from your DAW and route it right in to go through our low latency plugins. So again, Apollo Twin has 2 stereo virtual I/O. So again, you take your favorite soft synth, route it into here, and then you can route it through low latency plugins. It's great for performance and feel. It's great for live performance as well. Last but certainly not least, Apollo and Apollo Twin are obviously UAD2 DSP accelerators. So I've just switched over here to Pro Tools 11, and now I'm running UA plugins in the DAW. So again, you can use Apollo Twin to run live, low latency, through the best preamps, the best UA plugins, and you're also able to run those same plugins in your mix while you're editing, mixing, and mastering. So that's Apollo Twin. It's now shipping. It's going to be available in 2 different configurations, a solo and a duo version. The solo version is $699 US Street. The duo version is $899 US Street, and they're available now. So thanks for coming by. I'm Lev Perry, and we'll see you next time.
One thing about the impedance switching, this seems like a really powerful new addition. Are you going to open that up to a range of a suite of different plugins now?
Yeah, I mean that's sort of what we were talking about with Unison is really the thing that enables that impedance switching. The hardware supports it, but Unison plugins are the things that turn it on. So the 610 is the first version. We're definitely going to be coming with more plugins, and I think the best way to describe it is, if the 610 has 500 ohms impedance, that's what the hardware will do. In fact, the 610 itself, the hardware that we make, actually has a switch to go between 500 and 2K ohms. And if you switch that, it is literally changing it in the hardware. It's not a model of the impedance, it is switching the impedance to interact with the hardware, the microphone. So again, that is how we plan to control that impedance on Apollo Twin and Apollo Duo and Quad. Any plugin that has this, it will just set the impedance automatically, so it does the right thing as you would expect with the hardware.
So being it's a hardware effect, are there sort of hard stop limits to how wide the impedance can go?
There are, but we chose the impedance settings to closely align with the most popular mic preamps that have ever been made. So I won't name names because that would be like scooping myself, but I think in general, yes, you can imagine we've got a pretty wide range of impedances that we can set. And so again, depending on what we put out in the future, the impedance will just switch to match that impedance of the model that we're going after.